Alright, I'll grab guide to Final Fantasy 14 Healers. So we watched the tanks one, like, I don't know how many days ago, I think it was before like Christmas or something. And now we're gonna watch the healers one because it wasn't like on the queue, and then there was, we saw that there was a DPS once. So same disclaimer as always. And well, let's watch.
I love power, and I love feeling powerful. It strokes my biggly wiggly and forces lesser beings to bow down to my awesome might lest they taste my boot between their gums. Nothing has ever given me the same rush of adrenaline than knowing that everybody has to submit to my whims for their own safety. It makes my brain do the goody good chemicals and allows me to feel as though I have control over this truly unfortunate reality that the universe is slowly careening into an eventual heat death, and there's nothing anybody can do about it as we are inconsequential specks in this cruel and uncaring universe. But none of that matters because look at this, I can pull my party members into a pit that kills them. I find that hilarious. Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
Once again, speaking really fast, it's gonna be difficult for me to talk over him as always. He just speaks so fast. But yeah, I have yet to actually like pull the do the whole, you know, pulling your teammate into certain death, basically, whether it's a mechanic or a hole or whatever. But once again, you know, I'm still not in game yet, so I haven't seen any arenas with like a hole in the middle. But I could possibly think, you know, of ways, you know, of different trials or dungeons in which I could just pull, you know, my teammates into well, you know, mechanics that would instantly kill them. But once again, I just don't find people that are like dicks or anything. Usually everyone I found so far is like really fucking nice. So why would I even do that? And risk a ban.
The greatest power of all is the power to have control over people's lives, which is why the healer is the most likely party member to have a god.
Healer. I'll give you 5 million HP to fuck off. Green DPS, 1 button rotation, corruption arc. I cannot as soon as stupid.
Complex. Right behind main tanks, mentors, and anybody who's an omnicrafter. You are the most. The greatest power of all is the power to have control over people's lives, which is why the healer is the most likely party member to have a god complex. Right behind main tanks, mentors, and anybody who's an omnicrafter. You are the most important person in the party, as you, along with the tank, are responsible for keeping the party alive by kissing their boo-boos and slapping the bitch who made the boo-boo. That's right, as a healer, you do have to deal damage as well. Man, but it's called a healer, and healers are supposed to heal, right?
Just heal, you don't do damage.
Wrong! A healer's job is not necessarily to heal the party, but rather to keep them alive. And yes, there's a difference. There's going to be a lot of downtime between heals, and you bet you're a flatus rumpus that you're making the fight take longer than it has to if you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for your next chance to cast Cure. What do you do when the party's full health? What do you do when the party's full health? Or even halfway up and standing? DPS
He's
the
bad guy.
No, I don't pay your sub. But when the fight takes too long, it starts to rub all up on everybody's nerves. And when you hit endgame, it serves you right when the boss will wipe the party cause you couldn't beat Enrage. Sure, you're for the most part keeping the party alive with a variety of healing utility spells, some regen, some shields.
Wait, that song was actually good. I would actually listen to the full version of it.
But an equal amount of time you're casting those, you're also throwing in some extra DPS when time allows. Remember, DPSing is just mitigating future damage. And if you're able to kill the current wave of dungeon mobs before they deplete the tank's HP, which by the way is going to regen to full by the time you reach the next mob pull anyway, what does it matter how low their HP gets? So yes, DPS when time allows. When does time allow? Well, I know you're scared of independence and thinking by yourself, but that's going to be a balancing act you'll have to figure out. However, my rule of thumb is the minimum amount of HP a party member has to be at is 1. But if that's too scary for your little fingies, ask yourself, will the enemy's next attack make your party member fall on their ass? If yes, heal so that it doesn't. If no, time to become a glare mage, motherfucker. As long
Although, you know, just if your teammate is like on, you know, 5 HP, you know, heal them, you know, you should probably heal them. Don't just leave them. Don't just wait for them to go to 1 HP or anything, especially because sometimes, you know, enemies attacks just fucking decide like critting, or they just miss or whatever, and it's just you end up, you know, miscalculating the damage, or if they just pull a random mechanic. I usually, you guys know, you know, that I play healer most of the time. I'm a main healer, maybe tank. You know, if I cannot go healer, very rarely do I go DPS except for my MSQ. And well, you know, for me, my rule of thumb is that, well, if you're a healer, all right, and you're healing, if you need to keep your tank alive, or your tank alive, if they are over half HP, don't heal them. All right, just do damage. If the moment they cross that, you know, half HP line, you should probably heal them. Of course, that depends a lot on whether a mechanic is coming, whether a mechanic just happened, whether just, you know, it depends a lot on the situation, alright? But, you know, at the end of the day, just if the half HP is full, don't heal. If half of the HP is gone, heal them, alright? That's it. That's really my rule of thumb. Because if you heal them all the time, you're just not gonna be able to, you're just gonna run out of mana. And well, you know, what it's rare for that to happen. Like, it's because, you know, healers can, like, very easily, if you know what you're doing, you can easily, you know, just keep that mana up, except for, you know, like some extreme cases which you just have to heal everyone in the party. And of course, if you're playing Sage, you're most likely also gonna have a lot of problems with mana. But I play Sage, I very rarely run out of mana. Or MP, I think that's, yeah, it's MP in Final Fantasy. But, you know, just try to keep it, you know, you need to find that balancing, you know, because otherwise you're just gonna run out of mana, or otherwise the tank is just gonna die because you didn't heal them. You have to find that balance, alright? Like I said, usually just half full. If it's complete, if it's, you know, half more or more, don't heal. If it's half or less, heal it. Easy. And then you just continue doing damage. And remember your dots. A lot of healers don't forget about the dots. Those do a lot of damage.
As long as they're alive and you're clearing the content, you're doing your job right. There is one caveat to doing your job right, and that's that everybody will hate you for it. Literally, by healing, you start to generate a lot of aggro from the bad guys. So if you ever decide to heal before mob pulls in dungeons, it's important to stick close to the tank like an ERPer sticks to Vieira's wearing 2B thigh highs. Especially if you throw on a regen and suddenly 800 mobs crash through the wall with a How to Fry Fairies cookbook. You can still do it, but you should know what you're getting into. Like live streaming and hoping that anybody will watch. As for your limit break, we heard you like healing, so we put more healing in your healing so you can heal while you heal. Unfortunately, you won't be using any limit break aside from LB3 because LB1 and 2 just heal the party, and you already have plenty of band-aids and popsicles to do that on your own. LB3, however, is so potent in healing it resurrects everybody in the party back from the dead instantaneously. But they will have to do the thriller afterwards, so it's best to be safe for when you at least have enough people to make a backup dancing crew. For the flavors of healer, we have 3 boomers and the new kid on the block who bought a Glock and has a TikTok. The white mage is the most straightforward. You heal when a buddy is hurt and you attack when they're not. Just about everything in your arsenal is all about feeding them so much it'll make an inflation artist blush in embarrassment. You're also equipped with the best AoE skill in the entire game and the ability to never run out of mana unless you're really, really bad. Best of all, when your buddies get hurt, you can heal them to harness their blood for the blood lily. But let's say you want to play white mage, but you like tarot readings and star signs like a suburban woman in her mid to late 20s. Astrologian is probably for you. You draw cards that will enhance the abilities of your party members, and you fill the arena with enough space dust and constellations that you'll need 5 layers of sunglasses to see. Taking this job will also teach you how to build a bomb. Don't worry, it's friendly.
Reminds me, you know, in Limsal minisages, sometimes you just get a group. They're all, you know, all astrologians, and then you just spam, you know, that ability that puts all that dust, or they put like a shield around, and you just cannot see anything. It's like a fucking flashbang for like 15 seconds. It's pretty fucking fun. People get angry all the time.
Scholar is a weirdo who used to hang out with all the bad DPS kids, but decided to turn their life around when they met a nice girl who supports them in their new hobby. Only problem is she knows nothing about your hobby, and you have to keep correcting her on fandom trivia. They're all about putting shields and defensive buffs that protect the party from taking damage in the first place. That way they can guess what, DP.
And guess what? They don't do that. Yeah, scholars. Why don't you use your shields? Like, usually I just find out that scholars just heal more than they use their shields for some reason. I see sages and, well, I see astrologians and other classes. Well, astrologians not anymore. But like, I've always seen that, you know, just scholars just barely use their shields for some reason. It's like, oh, I'm trying to do, you know, a dungeon or whatever, and I'm like, okay, a shield will be good in this at this moment, and we have a scholar. Great. Guess what? At no fucking point in the fight do they actually put shields on you, and it's fucking annoying. Use your shields, scholars, goddammit.
Party from taking damage in the first place.
Well, now we have sages, so it's not like the scholars are useless now.
That way they can guess what? DPS even more. Also, your girlfriend can get
That's gonna piss off a lot of people.
And finally, the new kid on the block, the Sage. A scholar who decided to stop being nice and pick up a gun. That shoots lasers! Like Scholar, they also put shields and protective buffs on their party members so they can spend more time shooting lasers! How do they do this? After seeing Alpha Node change to the job, my guess is the Nullists are liquefied carbuncles. Rest in peace, Carby. Oh no! And now you know how to play healer. You're welcome.
Pretty good. Pretty fucking good. Yeah, so just that Sage is really fun, really good. I really like it. I think this is pre-end Walker, so he didn't talk about it much. Only problem is that mana just runs out like crazy. I don't know what it is, but just like, for example, in other classes you can just spam, you know, the damage ability, the one damage ability, and you never run out of mana. If you do it in Sage, you're just gonna run out of mana somehow, because for some reason that's how much mana it takes to cast, you know, just that one damage ability. But yeah, it can get annoying sometimes, but you know, I mean, the shields are good, everything's nice, but I mean, of course you have a lot of abilities that don't require mana, so that's pretty fucking good. But you know, the good or the boosted abilities, I forgot what the name was, that turn, you know, that healing into shields, require mana, but pretty fucking good. I honestly love Sage, although it's really overplayed now because it's new. So yeah, pretty fucking good. I mean, I really like the video. Pretty fucking good. Yeah, good job, JoCat. Nice. Right, next one, boys.